Evaluate wines. In this unit you will learn the following. Implement appropriate tasting conditions. Identify key styles and grape varieties using sensory evaluation. Identify basic wine faults. Communicate basic information about wine styles. Implement appropriate tasting conditions. The conditions under which a wine is tasted can heavily impact on how well it's received. All wines have specific conditions under which they should be tasted to ensure maximum quality. This begins with storage. All wines should be stored in cellar conditions at constant temperatures. Exposing wines to extreme heat or cold, or to changing temperatures, can cause them to spoil. The serving temperature is also very important. White wines and sparkling wines should be refrigerated before serving, while red wine should be served at room temperature. Another important consideration is the style of glass the wine is served in. Not all wine glasses are suitable for all wine styles.
What releases the flavour is oxygen. That's why you swirl the glass. The oxygen releases aroma and taste. So having such a big bowl on a red wine glass allows the maximum surface area to penetrate the liquid. Traditionally, the first glass would be for Riesling, second glass would be for Pinot Gris or Chardonnay, the middle glass, the largest glass, would be for red wine.
Be sure the area you are serving the wine in is clean and that your personal preparation is appropriate. When opening a wine bottle that has a cork, be sure to check that the cork is in one piece, as broken cork can spoil wine and is particularly unpleasant for your customers. If the bottle has a foil wrapping, be sure to dispose of it appropriately. The order you serve wine in is also very important, particularly if you're working at a winery or cellar door. Lighter white wines should be served first, followed by heavier red wines, then dessert wines. This is so the heavier wines do not overpower the customer's palate and spoil the taste of the next wine they try. Be sure to have water available to customers, as this can assist them in refreshing their palate between tastings. Identify key styles and grape varieties using sensory evaluation.
There are 4 key taste sensations of the tongue that can be identified when tasting wine. These are sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. Make sure you follow the correct tasting procedures using sight, smell, and taste. This may include implementing techniques to release flavour, such as swirling the glass, describing smell characteristics, and recognising acidity, sweetness, and weight of the wine. These qualities and characteristics should then be evaluated, ensuring the conditions are as favourable as possible. This includes correct glassware and serving temperature.
Identify basic wine faults.
Any wine faults, such as cork taint, need to be recognised and reported. Be sure to inspect the cork and identify any faults that may relate to other wine in stock at your venue. Wine from the same batch or order could be affected in the same way. You may be required to report this to the wholesaler or winery that your venue purchased the wine from.
A very common error in wine appreciation is thinking that all wine improves in quality over time. This is not the case. While some wines improve with age, others are ready to drink as soon as they arrive at the venue. Do not make the mistake of serving an old bottle of wine if in fact it has lowered in quality. For example, a Cabernet Sauvignon wine ages very well, while most Pinot Noir should be drunk when they're very young.
Well, one of the things that we do at the cellar door, of course, is that we test every wine that we open. Cork, because of the quality at the moment, is undergoing an enormous change, and we've had far too many incidences of cork taint.
Screw caps, on the other hand, are an interesting closure in the fact that, if applied well, provide a non-taint solution to a cork. However, they're more susceptible to damage. From a packaging perspective, I think screw caps are a higher risk application risk to the business. Corks are probably a lower risk from an application perspective, but they're probably a higher risk of a cork taint in the field. So in packaging, we're trying to find a balance between those two parameters.
There are a number of faults that wine have got, principally oxidization and cork taint. There are others, and those two are very obvious. We look to smell and taste each wine when it's open. If we have a bottle that is open from the previous night, we actually pump the wine every night, and we only use wine for 2 days so that it is fresh, and we will test the wine from the previous day to make sure that there is nothing wrong with it before offering it for tasting.
Communicate basic information about wine styles.
You must be able to verbally outline a range of basic wine styles. If there are any distinctions between wines, these should be outlined to the customer. Any questions need to be answered or referred to the appropriate person in accordance with your venue's policies and supervisor instructions. Key factors that contribute to the style and flavour of a wine need to be stated and explained. This could range from the region the wine was produced in to the style of grape used. Remember, when speaking to customers, always be courteous and respectful of their level of wine knowledge.
When describing wine to a customer, there are many different terms that you should be familiar with. These include colour. Is the wine red, rosé or white? Basic taste. Is it a sweet wine or a dry wine? Source. Where does the wine come from? Is it Australian or imported? The viticulture used. What region or vineyard does it come from? Wine type. Is it a generic wine or is it a varietal wine? Purity and strength. Is it pure or fortified? Quality and age. Is it a vintage wine or a non-vintage wine? Production methods. What techniques were used in the production? And finally, what style of wine is it? Aperitif, table, sparkling, or dessert?